Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
I am ready for the event.
Kansas Aviation Museum, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Ben Salcedo with the Kansas Aviation Museum. How do you hear me?
I've got you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Thank you very much, Colonel A, for this opportunity. And we have a bunch of youngsters and adults that are ready to hear about life on the International Space Station.
Yeah, life aboard the space station. The first thing to point out is the space station's been in operation for almost 2.5 decades. And we've had someone continuously occupying the space station, living and working on the space station for that length of time. What we've been able to accomplish up here is amazing, and it's all about the science. I look forward to your questions.
My name is Melanie, and I'm 7 years old. How do arteries survive in space?
Why do you repeat that question?
There was a little bit of echo there. I was wondering if somebody closer to the mic could repeat the question.
So he asked, how do tardigrades survive in space?
I'm sorry, say again?
So they asked, how do tardigrades survive in space?
So living in space is not easy. It takes a lot of support from the ground. On board the space station, there are 7 astronauts and cosmonauts living here. But to do that, to live here and to work here, takes a team of hundreds of thousands of people across the globe to train us, to get us ready to be on board the space station, and also to help us every day. We're in constant communication with control centers around the globe to support us.
Hello, I'm Levi, I'm 12, and I was wondering if you knew anything about the Lego set project.
I'm sorry, it's coming through a little garbled. Can you ask again, please?
So Levi asked, have you heard anything about the Lego set project?
You know, I haven't. But one of the really interesting things that we do up here, one of the best parts of this job is while I'm up here over the course of about 5 months, I'm going to get to be exposed to almost 200 different experiments, and they range in things from material science, where we're trying to develop new materials and help scientists on the ground create new materials or build things in a new way. We're printing with a metal 3D printer just over there on the other side of the lab. Or we're doing biomedical research and trying to figure out how to detect disease and cure diseases better. And all of that is focused on doing research here because everything floats. We're in microgravity, and so my microphone right here floats. And by taking away gravity, we can start to understand some of the really important nuances in science that will help us make these gigantic breakthroughs.
We're going to talk really loud. The microphone's up there.
Hello, my name is Declan. I'm 9 years old, and I would like to know how big your spaceship is.
So he asked, how big is your spaceship?
Yeah, the space station. So let's start with the first thing. The first thing, I launched on a rocket. The rocket is about 150 feet tall. So it's pretty tall. The vehicle that brought us here is about the size of a bus. And when you get to the space station is roughly the size of a football field. If you put it in a college stadium, it would stretch from goal line to goal line, sideline to sideline. It's gigantic. But most of that is on the outside. On the inside, where we live, really is only about as big as a 5 or 6 bedroom home. And there's 7 of us in here, so it's pretty tight quarters.
My name is Gianna Holding. Do you remember my uncle Matthew Holding from the U.S. Air Force Academy?
So she asked if you remember her uncle, Matthew Halding from the Air Force Academy. Hartzine, sorry.
And yes, I do. And going to the Air Force Academy was such an amazing experience. I made great friends there, and continue to maintain those friendships. I continue to serve in the military. When I graduated from the Air Force Academy, I joined the Air Force and served in that until I transferred to the Space Force just a few years ago. It was a wonderful experience at the Academy, and I've enjoyed those friendships my whole life.
My name's Graham. I'm 12. I was wondering, what's the scariest thing you've ever seen in space?
There are lots of things that are risky, where we rely on that big team I talked about in order to make sure that we stay safe. But even though we're doing our best to stay as safe as we can, there are still things that make your heart race. One of those is doing a spacewalk. When you open the hatch and you go on the outside of the space station in your own suit, and you know that the only thing separating you from the vacuum of space is the suit that you're wearing, the clothes that you're wearing to work, and you go outside and you work out there. At some point, when you open that hatch and you look down, the Earth is 200 miles down, 250 miles down, and it looks like a long ways down, and that makes your heart really race. But at some point during that spacewalk, you calm down to the point where it's just like you were doing training that you've done millions of times on the ground over and over practicing, and you start to forget that you're wearing a spacesuit, and you just feel like you're wearing clothes, and you get to work. And the best part of it all is that you're tied into that team on the ground, because you're out there with your partner doing a spacewalk, but there are hundreds of people in mission control helping you along the way so that you don't make any mistakes and that you do stay safe.
Hello, I'm Liam and I'm 13, and I wanted to know, what is your everyday life in space?
Up here, it's pretty much the same every day. We wake up at 6 a.m. and start our day. We have a few hours before we start work where we can wake up, have breakfast, do your morning routine, just like you would do at home. And then it's off to work. And we start work at 7:30 in the morning, and we end work at 7:30 at night. So it's a 12-hour workday. During that workday, we're doing maintenance, we're doing science experiments, we're also doing exercise. We have to exercise 2.5 hours every day up here so that our muscles stay strong and our bones stay strong, because if we don't do that exercise, all I'm doing up here is floating, and those will just wither away over time. And I want to be able to walk when I come home, so I work out every day for 2.5 hours. So after that 12-hour workday, we have an hour and a half or so where we can eat dinner and tend to checking in at home, calling family and friends, and then it's time to go to bed about 9:30 so that we can get 8 hours of sleep at night. And we do that 5 days a week. And then on Saturday we have a lighter day, a couple hours less work. And then on Sunday we have that free, if you will. And so I spend a lot of my Sundays looking out the window, admiring the beautiful earth below.
Hi, my name is Max, and I'm wondering, how are you gonna celebrate Christmas in the International Space Station?
We celebrate holidays up here. We just celebrated Thanksgiving. For Christmas, I thought ahead. I had to think a long ways ahead because I packed up some gifts for my crewmates up here, and we had to launch them on another cargo spacecraft, and it launched months ago. So in the summer, I was Christmas shopping. And I also thought ahead, and I packed some special food. So some things that I like to eat at Christmas time, and I brought those up here so that I could share those with my crewmates. And so we'll get together and we'll have a Christmas dinner, and we'll bring in the Christmas season. We'll celebrate New Year's. And that's really one of the special things we do up here as a crew. We're an international crew, and we get to bring our traditions and share them with our international crewmates, and they do the same in return. And we build that bond and create kind of a special environment up here that is truly unique.
My name is James, and I am 9 years old, and I was wondering what type of experiments you do up on the space station.
I mentioned some of them already. If I think just within the last couple weeks, things that we've been working on, we were taking samples around the space station of surfaces and trying to detect if there was bacteria growing on those surfaces, and using DNA sequencing techniques in order to identify what they are. We were working on a metal 3D printer trying to print with metal in space for one of the first times. We've also been growing things. So one of the things we like to do up here is experiment on how we're going to sustain our crews as they start to go deeper into space. I can't pack all of the food necessary, so I need to start figuring out how to grow it. And so we're working on growing things. I've been growing not what you might think of when you think of growing things to eat, but growing algae. Algae is also good because it produces a lot of oxygen, consumes a lot of carbon dioxide, and that's important in creating the closed loop system that keeps our atmosphere fresh and keeps it healthy for me to survive.
My name is Maddie, and I'm 4. And how long did it take to get to outer space?
It's going to surprise you, but to get to outer space takes less than 10 minutes. We start on the surface of the Earth, we light the rocket, and less than 10 minutes later, I'm floating in space.
Hello, my name is Grace, and I'm 7 years old, and I was wondering, what kind of space food is your favorite?
So space food up here, we've got all kinds of food that's in packages, and there's probably 200 to 250 different things that we can choose from. And there's meats, and there's fruits and vegetables, and desserts, and everything you could probably imagine. We've got something very similar to it up here. We have to do that, put it in packets so that it's easy for us to prepare, because we don't have the ability to cook food. We can just warm it up, or we can rehydrate it. On the ground, I have kind of a sweet tooth, so I like desserts. And up here, I think in space, I like desserts even more. So some of my favorite things to eat up here are having a nice dessert like a chocolate cake or a lemon cake. Those are both great things that I enjoy. But you have to have your fruits and vegetables before you can have your dessert. So just remember that.
So are aliens real?
You know, one of the things that NASA is trying to do is to search the solar system, search the universe for life, because we want to see if it's out there. We want to find it. So I sure hope all that effort is not for nothing. I sure hope it's not wasted effort. I hope there's life out there and we'll be able to find it.
Hi, my name is Lace, and I'm 9 years old. And my question today is, can you find diamonds and emeralds and all the gems in space?
We're exploring space deeper and deeper and discovering all kinds of things around us. And one of the places that we've discovered lots of natural resources is in our asteroid belt. And so there are resources, there are places that we can go to find these more precious, rare elements. It's just going to take a lot of effort to get there. So I encourage you, if you're interested in getting involved with space and exploring, so at a young age, I was really interested. I'd look up at the night sky and I'd say, hey, I want to go explore there. Well, the first foundation of that is education. And so you've got to study science and math, and you've got to focus on that so that you can be part of the team that's going to help us conquer these really hard problems as we try to go to these places to get those resources.
All right, Nick, this is our last question.
Hi, I'm Samay. I'm 10 years old, and I'm wondering, can you break your neck in space?
Say that again?
She asked if you can break your neck in space.
Well, you can definitely get hurt, and it would be a bad day. So we try not to get hurt. But you can. One of the things we like to do up here is we like to enjoy weightlessness. And what you quickly realize is that hard metal things are still hard, and they can hurt because you are still mostly soft. But we love to float around. We love to enjoy weightlessness and bounce around and pretend it's recess and act like we're back in elementary school on the playground.
This has been South Meadow one last time. And I have a special message from you, for you, not from you, for you, from your United States Senator, Terry Moran. I want to say hello from Kansas, Derek.
Well, Ben, thank you for passing along that message. It's always special to be able to connect with the people back home, and you know, Kansas is where I'm from, and so I feel a strong connection there. I want to say hello to all my friends there at the Kansas Aviation Museum. I look forward to seeing you guys after I get back down on the ground.
Thank you.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you to all participants at the Kansas Aviation Museum. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communication.